Out of these troubled times, our fifth objective, a new world order can emerge, a new era, freer from the threat of terror. Today, that new world is struggling to be born, a world quite different from the one we've known, a world where the rule of law supplants the rule of the jungle, a world in which nations recognize the shared responsibility for freedom and justice. We have before us the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order, a world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle, governs the conduct of nations. When we are successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order, an order in which a credible United Nations can use its peacekeeping role to fulfill the promise and vision of the UN's founders. What is at stake is more than one small country. It is a big idea, a new world order, where diverse nations are drawn together in common cause, peace and security and the rule of law. Now we can see a new world coming into view, a world in which there is the very real prospect of a new world order, a world where the United Nations, freed from Cold War stalemate, is poised to fulfill the historic vision of its founders. And that's why I wanted to speak to you today about the new world taking shape around us, about the prospects for a new world order now within our reach. In the coming weeks, I'll be talking in some detail about the possibility of a new world order emerging after the Cold War to give new shape and momentum to this new world order. Only when this transformation is complete will we be able to take full measure of the opportunities presented by this new and evolving world order. The new world order really is a tool for addressing a new world of possibilities. This order gains its mission and shape not just from shared interests, but from shared ideals.
The President George Bush has talked time and time again about a new world order, and this is the best chance to begin to establish the new world order, and that's why the stakes are so high.
After 1989, President Bush said, and it's a phrase that I often use myself, that we needed a new world order, and instead it looks like we got a lot of disorder.
And one of the ways it will drive the change is through global governance and global agreements.
Now, much has been said by the Secretary of State and others about a new world order, about a defining moment in history. What kind of new world order we really create?
None of the most important countries which must build a new world order have had any experience with the multi-state system that is emerging. Never before has a new world order had to be assembled from so many different perceptions or on so global a scale.
4 commencement addresses describing that new world order and what America's role was going to be in it.
The present window of opportunity during which a truly peaceful and interdependent world order might be built will not be here for too long.
To build a new world order in which nations and peoples with different systems and different values can live together in peace.
It's about the idea of freedom. It's about the future of the whole region. It's about the future of Europe and a new world order.
Out of it came a new Europe, a new world order.
I think a new world order is emerging, and with it the foundations of a new and progressive era of international cooperation.
And people talked then, in 1990, of a new world order. What they actually meant then was a new political order. But what does the new world order mean for countries like ours who are looking to succeed? A new world is emerging. It is a new world order with significantly different and radically new challenges for the future.
I think America's place in the new world order should be, it's always been seen as the global policeman. What should America be doing
I think
globally?
the global policeman should be the United Nations. What sort of a financial deal should Obama be seeking to strike when he travels to China next month?
No, I think this would be the time, because you really need to bring China into the creation of a new world order.
What do you think the most important thing is for Barack Obama? Obviously, you're here to talk about the anniversary for U.S.-China diplomatic relations, but if you had to say this is going to be the country or the conflict or the place that will define the Obama administration, what would it be?
Will be to develop an overall strategy for America in this period when really a new world order can be created. It's a great opportunity. It isn't such a crisis. There's a need for a new world order.
Is to actually create a new world order, because the global order is changing again.
To get ahead, we've got to give them a stake in creating the kind of world order that I think all of us would like to see.
I believe we, and particularly you, your class, has an incredible window of opportunity to lead in shaping a new world order for the 21st century.
For the international order that we have worked for generations to build. Ordinary men and women are too small-minded to govern their own affairs. That order and progress can only come when individuals surrender their rights to an all-powerful sovereign.
When our founders declared a new order of the ages, they were acting on an ancient hope that is meant to be fulfilled.
We have before us the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order, a world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle, governs the conduct of nations. When we are successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order, an order in which a credible United Nations can use its peacekeeping role to fulfill the promise and vision of the UN.
Here's an official in Australia. Now, listen, it's not a conspiracy theory. A new world order. These are her words, not mine. Declaring that contact tracing is going to be a big thing in the new world order. I'm not kidding. Her words, not mine. Check this out.
Will they be put back in place to be listed once we are reopening? Because they're not at the moment.
We will be looking at what contact tracing looks like in the new world order. We will be looking at what contact tracing looks like in the new world order.
It's just the way it is. We've got to accept that this is the new world order. We've got to accept that this is the new world order.
New world order. What does that mean exactly? The new world order. I have been worried for a very long time, since I started getting involved in politics and I ran for office back in 2011, about a new surveillance state emerging, given the technology. Folks, I think, and I feel comfortable telling you this, I think contact tracing in these power-hungry states is just an excuse for surveillance.
My job as a journalist is to try to understand what is the truth here. I don't like being lied to. And we're being lied to on an epic scale. When we're told your only choice is you have to be 100% with Zelensky, who's a puppet, who you can find on the internet in black stilettos and leather pants, you know, with shirtless, doing a spoof Dancing with the Stars kind of entertainment video. That's a mock of a Ukrainian group that does this kind of satanic, occult type of music video. And I mean, Zelensky was selected, like so many of our leaders. And honestly, with big tech, and with election fraud these days, we don't know how many leaders all around the world have been selected for us and weren't actually voted in. But what we do know is that there are increasing problems with technology and the digitization of our world. Putin has been warning for 15 years that he is not going to stand by while the globalists take over the world, build bioweapons facilities and whatever else they're doing in Ukraine, Ukrainian oligarchs. Ukraine has been a center of money laundering for, you know, many of the leaders in this country. For how long? Billions of US dollars have been laundered through Ukraine, and we say nothing about it. These are our tax dollars.
The world, quite frankly, Kira, is surprised by the will of the Ukrainian people to stand up and fight. Are you?
Well, I'm not surprised. We have been fighting Putin for the last 8 years. But right now, it's a critical time because we know that we not only fight for Ukraine, we fight for this new world order for the democratic countries. We knew that we are the shield for the Europe.
Matter of fact, a Ukrainian member of parliament says, quote, "We are not only fighting for Ukraine, we are fighting for the New World Order." Give me your perspective.
I think we also need to recognize that Vladimir Putin was also one of the alumni of the global young leaders that came through the World Economic Forum. We see that with Putin, that he is one of them. But there's also, for instance, a journalist in Ukraine who also was one of these young global leaders. And she's been actively calling for the United States and the European Union to get engaged in establishing a no-fly zone over Ukraine. We saw it just recently in Canada with Prime Minister Trudeau and the Deputy Prime Minister, Christina Freeland, and half of the cabinet of Canada, all of whom are graduates of the World Economic Forum Young Global Leader Program.
When I mention now names like Mrs. Merkel, even Vladimir Putin and so on, they all have been young global leaders of the World Economic Forum. But what we are very proud of now is the young generation, like Prime Minister Trudeau, President of Argentina and so on, that we penetrate the cabinets, So yesterday I was at a reception for Prime Minister Trudeau, and I know that half of this cabinet, or even more, half of this cabinet are actually young global leaders of the World Economic Forum.
And that's true in Argentina too. Wow.
Yeah.
Sorry. That's true in Argentina as well.
It's true in Argentina, and it's true in France now. I'm with the president. It will be a world which will combine significant investments into the future, at the same time social responsibility. It will be a young world. It will be a digital world. Now, who could represent such a world better than you, Prime Minister? Prime Minister, we are very much looking forward to listen to you.
Thank you, Professor Schwab, for your warm welcome. I'd like to take a moment just off the top to recognize a founder of the World Economic Forum and a great Canadian, Maurice Strong, who passed away just a couple of months ago. Maurice showed incredible leadership on a variety of issues facing the world today, in particular, early and compelling leadership on climate change. Today, we are gathered here to contemplate whether we are in the stages of the fourth industrial revolution about to begin. What a breathtaking possibility that is.
Building back better means getting support to the most vulnerable while maintaining our momentum on reaching the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development and the SDGs.
Secretary General and Klaus Schwab, the founder of the World Economic Forum, will witness the signing of a memorandum of understanding on a strategic partnership between the UN and the World Economic Forum, which outlines areas of cooperation to deepen engagement between the two institutions and to jointly accelerate the implementation of the 2030 Agenda.
1946, and since then we established a liberal world order, and now is a time when things are shifting. There's going to be a new world order out there, and we've got to lead it. We've got to unite the rest of the free world in doing it. So anyway.
Better wake up and better listen, because people don't want what's been shoveled to them at this point. They don't want the United States economy to collapse. They don't want a new world order like Joe Biden just called for when he was in Europe. Today there's a World Economic Summit meeting in Abu Dhabi. All they're talking about is food shortages, supply chain shortages, energy shortages. People don't want any of that. And yet it looks like we're headed toward collapse really fast. And when there's a collapse on the economy, then government steps in and government gets bigger. That's not what people want. They don't want bigger government. They don't want this rise of authoritarianism. We talk about this rise of global governance that people like Biden and this World Government Summit and these people are pushing. People don't want that. They want gas at $1.89 a gallon. They want to go to Aldi's or a grocery store and be able to buy food and at the end of the day be able to get pizza on Friday night. This isn't hard to figure out. And so the current politicians are practically DOA. But whoever comes out the winner in November better realize people don't want global governance. They don't want rising authoritarianism. They want normalcy. And people who are smart are going to listen to this. They're going to stop selling off the oil and the oil reserve. That's a stupid decision. We've got to have American energy production. We've got to listen to normal people. I wish a normal person was in the White House right now because we'd have a much different time.
A new world order.
A new world order.
A new world order.
New world order.
The international order.
A new world order.
And just as we predicted months ago, they're going to use this Ukraine-Russia crisis and milk it for everything it's worth to create a new world order.
My name is Richard Haas, by the way. I work here at the Council on Foreign Relations.
And I work for Richard.
And the Council on Foreign Relations has been pushing this idea of a one world order for a very long time. In fact, they've written about it openly in their propaganda mouthpiece, their magazine Foreign Affairs. Said, in short, the house of world order will have to be built from the bottom up rather than from the top down. An end run around national sovereignty, eroding it piece by piece, will accomplish much more than the old-fashioned assault. And that's what we've been witnessing, folks, this subversive effort to little by little dismantle our sovereignty. But ultimately, they do fully intend to create a one-world government, and they've made that very, very clear, folks.
Now, despite the ADL claiming the idea of a new world order as a conspiracy theory touted by conspiracy theorists, interestingly, numerous world leaders have been throwing the idea around. This one is put on by a group of Emirati government officials. And this year's 2022 summit took on an eye-raising title.
And the title of this session, Are We Ready for a New World Order?
Well, even Klaus Schwab ran a commercial at the summit touting a new world order. Take a look at this.
سرعة التغيير القادمة أكبر بكثير مما نتوقع.
I see a future where the internet is available for free for everyone. And that means the location of power is going to shift. Decentralization of power structures everywhere may be the beginning of that shift in finance, in political power.
We have to uphold our responsibility, which we have towards the next generation.
Okay, so now we have Joe Biden, Emirati leaders, and Klaus Schwab from the World Economic Forum all talking about the new world order forming. What next? Imagine a new world order under China. Would it be a tyrannical socialist world using repressive measures, eliminating dissent and disarming its citizens? Would there be concentration camps housing dissenters? Doesn't sound so nuts anymore now, does it?
Here's the RFP. And in the RFP, it uses clear language to express that these camps can be used for a broad spectrum of people, not limited to travelers. Indeed, it doesn't even mention international travelers. It's just a broad latitude of people. And I'll send over the copy of the RFP after. So your government must be in negotiations and aware of these plans to potentially detain and isolate citizens and residents of our country and our province. So, Speaker, to the Premier, where will these camps be built? How many people will be detained? And for what reasons? For what reasons can people be kept in these isolation camps? And I'd like to have the Premier assure the people of Ontario.
Member, take a seat.
But we have this trusted digital identity bill. What the hell is this? Is it before the Parliament? And if so, who's presented it to the Parliament?
Well, first of all, you can tell it's trusted because it's got it in the name. That's the first giveaway. It's always the way. Bell's the cat on this. This is the first alarm bell for me, is the word trusted in the title. Now, what this basically is is a piece of legislation that is not before Parliament yet, as I understand it, but has gone through a consultation process. It's designed to create a digital ID for every Australian, compiling all of your buying habits, all of your social habits, all of your religious preferences. Everything you do online, everything you do out in the wider world is to be collated into one identification number and document. And it's being pitched along the lines of, this is safe, it'll help safety online, and it'll be one of those things that's marketed in the sense of it will provide you with convenience. Once again, coming back to this issue of giving up our information, giving up our liberty, sacrificing it at the altar of convenience. Now, you're right, this is a massive topic. We probably don't have time to go through it now, but Australians need to be alarmed about this. They need to be alarmed about this. This ultimately will come to Parliament in the next period, probably the next few months, and what it will do is set up the very basic setup for a social credit style system. Absolutely. You've seen what's happened in Canada with the freedom rallies and the truckers over there. If we don't take this very seriously and look at this properly and dispose of it, we're going to get the same thing here.
Well, we will come back, but in the time that's available to us, this to our viewers is, and correct me if I'm wrong, Alex, a centralised, government-managed identity verification system. Everything about you is in the hands of government. So, Alex, am I right? Government collects all this information about us from anywhere it can get its hands on it, and what happens then?
Like a giant vacuum, Alan. It soaks up all the information it can get from you. We don't know where it's coming from. We saw all that stuff with Kmart and Bunnings the other week, facial recognition, all this sort of stuff. This dystopian future is on it. Now, what happens to it? That's a great question. Potentially it could be sold, but the grave concern is what it's used in terms of how it's used against you. So, for example, if you are someone who has refused a vaccine, the information will be there ready to go. Now, the bureaucrats tell us, those that have drafted this information tell us it's voluntary at the moment. Well, guess what? So was the mandate situation at the start. These things never stay voluntary.
But here, we'll leave it on this note. I'll come back to Senator Antich. This is staggering stuff, but governments, get this into our heads, would have extraordinary access to all our private and personal information. And on the basis of that, they could deny certain freedoms to us, certain opportunities, certain transactions, the whole kit and caboodle. Alex, we'll talk again in a fortnight. But thank you for your time tonight, and thank you for the insights, and for goodness sake, keep at it.
The world has to overcome not only the damage done to our economies and our societies by COVID-19, it also has to confront the repercussions.
سرعة التغيير القادمة أكبر بكثير مما نتوقع.
Well, everyone is talking about a new world order. What does that even mean? What will the new world order look like? Who will control it? What has been touted as a right-wing conspiracy theory for the past few decades is now just loosely falling out of the mouths of global leaders everywhere. But before we get to the various world leaders touting a new world order, including Biden, Putin, Xi Jinping, the World Economic Forum, and others, let's talk about the people claiming it's a big conspiracy theory. The Anti-Defamation League categorizes the phrase New World Order under extremism, terrorism, and bigotry. They define it as, quote, a term used to refer to a right-wing conspiracy theory that became popular among anti-government extremists from the 1990s onwards. New World Order conspiracists believe that a tyrannical socialist one-world conspiracy has already taken over most of the planet and schemes to eliminate the last bastion of freedom, the United States, with the help of collaborators within the government. Through repressive measures, as well as manufactured crises such as terrorist attacks and pandemics, the globalist conspirators seek to eliminate dissent and to disarm Americans so that the New World Order can move in and enslave them.
Again, like I said before, this is what they used to say about us. And here's the funny thing. Now that I pointed out, and you pointed out to people, they still think I'm part of the tinfoil hat brigade. All over their website, a New World Order. This is taken from their website. Let's just read it together. The World Government Summit Organization is a global, they're neutral, nonprofit organization dedicated to the shaping of future governments. Dedicated to what? The shaping of future. Let's read between the lines. We're going to get rid of America. We're going to get rid of capitalism and the free market economy. You notice how they've demonized capitalism, right? Oh, it's greed, it's greed. Well, what are you going to put us on? I can tell you what's coming. Fascism, corporate fascism is coming our way. And these guys have already made deals with the corporations, and what they're going to do is level a new economic system through the corporations with the backing of the government, but it's the corporations that will lead out. And they're going to put everyone else, the small businesses, out of business, as they already did during the shutdown. And it's going to be a global corporate fascism. That's what they want to do to reshape these governments of the world. The summit, in its various activities, explores the agenda of the next generation of governments, the next generation of government.
Increase the debt. You've got to do that for global government. Increase poverty. You need to do that. International welfare. Class warfare. Got to have that. And how often do we see it on the news? No religion but a single pagan religion. That's why Christianity is really, America, as I said, America and Christianity are the two big obstacles to this global government. America and Christianity, because there is to be no religion but a single pagan religion, ultimately headed by the Antichrist and the false prophet. Destroy the family. So these are some of the ways the globalists hope to initiate these bullet points. And if we get these and 100 more initiated, we will have paradise on earth, a single government with a single ruler. Now, David Rockefeller said, all we need is the right major crisis, and the nations will accept the New World Order. Again, David Rockefeller, probably the primary player since the 1920s, passed away recently. The major player, some others as well, but he is the most influential. So what would be the major crisis that could bring this about? I think there are several options. I think one of those options could be the some sort of a catastrophe. Some sort of a global financial catastrophe would easily bring about global government. Could be a terror-related event. What if there were 9/11s going off in 24 cities of the world at the same time? People would be so terrified, they'd say, yep, we need a single government to control this. It could be weather-related. Again, it could be environmental. It could be World War III. Maybe that's on the horizon. A major type of a global war would certainly, just as World War I caused the League of Nations, World War II, the United Nations, because world wars terrify the entire world. So a World War III could bring about global government. But I maintain it's one event that will bring it about. The Bible indicates that it will be the rapture that then brings on the New World Order that they have been striving for. This is it. It goes by various names. The time of Jacob's trouble, Daniel's 70th week. It's known as the tribulation. This 7-year period from which the church is absent is what the globalists have been striving to create for 5,000 years, since Babylon. This is it. but they do get their 7 year of global government. They get it. They finally get their paradise. It doesn't work very well according to the Bible. As a matter of fact, people will be praying that mountains fall on them to kill them. It will be so horrific, which is why God spares the church from this ordeal. But this is the globalist utopia. This is what evil mankind has produced.